The Gambia Christian Committee launches its first radio station after several years of denial by the former president Yahya Jammeh. The Truth Commission renews its commitment in investigating series of human rights violations during the past regime after resuming from its week-long break. These and more coming on Gambia24. Stay tuned. Good evening, you're watching Gambia24 with me, Sohna Tunkara, and now to our news in detail. The Christian community in the Gambia on Wednesday launched their radio station after their proposal was ignored by the former president for several years. Veritas, a Latin word which means the truth, is a fundamental pillar in their mission, besides its religious commitments. The radio will also be broadcasting news, sports, and entertainment content. Fatmata Kasim files in this report.
Veritas Radio is the first Christian radio in the Gambia. Like many other radios, it is set to inform its audience on a variety of issues affecting their day-to-day activities. Reverend Father Peter Lopez, the head of communication at the Gambia Pastoral Institute, who also doubles as the head of the radio, said the radio was a long-time initiative under the previous government. He said the efforts to get approval from relevant authorities for establishing the radio turned futile. Father Lopez said they established the radio station in order to enlighten their audience in the country.
Because radio is a means in which a good number of people can be enriched. For example, if I am a priest, I am leading a congregation, they are limited on a Sunday. But radio can reach even those who don't plan to go to church. You can be in your bedroom. Radio we say is secondary. You can be in the farm. You see the kids now with their earphone, they are going to walk. So radio has proven to be a means that can reach a greater number of people than the pastors and priests can get on a Sunday. So then we said, well, why can't we apply for one and then use it as a means of reaching out to the faithful, those who believe in Jesus, Christians who believe in what they believe, and we promote what we believe and strengthen the faith of our Christians. So that is how it came about. And when we applied, during the days of the former regime, it was a little bit difficult. We've seen a lot of ministers of communication, we press and push, and it was difficult. But as God would have it, when we had a new administration, we were even encouraged to say, you can send in your application to Pura, and then to the Ministry of Communication. And finally, we were able to get the license to begin broadcast. And last week, Wednesday, we officially launched and opened Radio Veritas.
Father Lopez said the radio will broadcast and operate on the name The Truth Radio. Its teaching will be centered on the truth reporting.
As media personnel, our duty is to tell the people the truth. The word of God is the truth. And we are doing it in an atmosphere that is open and democratic and free. So that is why we welcome this new regime. In fact, the new regime, was like an impetus. It really a springboard for us to say, go and apply, because we felt the atmosphere is now conducive. Before, you'll be afraid to say something, because in your frame of mind, you'll think you are saying the truth, but others hearing can think otherwise. That is why we always tell the staff here, our duty is to say the truth. In fact, the radio is named after truth. The word veritas is from Latin. It means the truth. In the Bible, in the Gospel of John, it is said, Jesus says, only the truth can set you free. So all that we want to communicate here is the truth, whether be it news from the government or from our church. Wherever there is falsehood and half-truth, it will never air it.
102.9 FM radio was founded by Gambia Christian communities before GRTS would help with a state-of-the-art studio equipment which had enabled them to start broadcasting last Wednesday at the GPI premises. The new radio station is also hoping to expand its coverage countrywide and has plans to establish substations in the provinces to enable the spread of word of God and help in developing the country. Compared to other Christian radios in the sub-region, which have proven to be the leading broadcasters in their respective countries, but to the Rome-trained communication specialist, Veritas FM will set a record in the Gambia. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatmata Kasim.
The Gambia Christian community have launched its very first radio station called Veritas FM. And from that report by Fatmata Kasim, the state broadcaster GRTS on Monday submits its financial activity report to the Public Enterprise Committee for scrutiny. It is a constitutional requirement for public enterprises to present their activity report and financial statements within 3 months of the end of each year to the National Assembly. The CC has the rest of that story.
The Standing Committee on Public Enterprises meets with the Gambia Radio and Television Services for the consideration of their activity report, audited financial statements, and later of GRTS for the year ended 31st December 2019. It is the responsibility of the financial authors to obtain a reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements as a whole are free from material misstatement. The committee, however, questioned the viability of GRTS, in which the Director General Abdul Ture responded, saying GRTS needs to be repositioned.
1995, it was a very viable institution. We could all see there was a lot of support, from the government, and the institution had a lot of, state-of-the-art equipment in those days. But comparing the situation of 1995 to date, we have seen a lot of changes. The issue of repositioning GRTS, we think, is key in this respect, because with this subsidiary that we have set up, it means GRTS is now going to focus on only content production. We are not going to be seen, transmitting signals. That will be the responsibility of the Digital Gambia company. It means GRTS, just like other TV stations, should be on a sound footing to be able to, provide, news and other programs to the general public. But when you look at the situation today, the challenges have overwhelmed the institution.
According to the committee, the national broadcaster is not following the Act of Operation with regards to operation tax payment, but said they have an agreement with GRA, and this was their response.
There is an agreement, and I think that is something in line with...
That's his concern, Board Chair. Yeah. He's saying that with the taxation, why is it that the corporation does not endeavor to pay rather than rely on agreements not to pay as it should? So that's the thin line to explain what are the challenges, what led to an agreement. So that's what he once explained. Why the need for an agreement?
I'll allow the director to explain a little bit, maybe the context, but in line with policies also, there is a possibility for the Minister of Finance to also waive certain taxations or reduce them. And I think the agreement was in line with the difficulties GRTS found itself in. And since also GRA was collecting the levy, it was agreed that they will collect the tax from the source instead of giving GRTS all and then later on. So there is an agreement to collect the tax through that modality.
The Committee on Public Enterprises, which consists of 24 members, is established under the Standing Order Act of 126. The duty of the committee is to report to Parliament on accounts examined, budgets and estimates, financial procedures, performance and management of corporations, and other government business undertakings. For iAfrica News, I am Daisy.
The state broadcaster today presents its activity to the Committee of Public Enterprise. We'll now go with a short commercial break. More to come on Gambia24. Stay tuned.
Cheapest phone in the Gambia, AfriPhone, is back in a brand new style. AfriCell, the biggest and the best GSM operator in the Gambia, is setting trends once again.
Get an AfriPhone for $350 only and receive 1 hour of free talk time spread over 3 months.
$350 is only you can get a dual SIM phone with a wireless FM radio, memory card slot, internet access, long-lasting battery, and 1 hour of free talk time.
Where AfriCell goes, nobody dares to follow.
Welcome back. You're still watching Gambia24, and now to the rest of our stories. The Gambia's Truth Commission on Monday continued its mandate of institutional hearings on the National Intelligence Agency after a week-long break. The chairman of the commission, in his opening statement, renewed the commission's commitment to expose the truth of the horrifying treatment that detainees endured at the hands of state agencies of the NIA and other secret torture centers across the country. More of that in this report.
The National Intelligence Agency, which according to many witnesses was a puppet institution administering dubious atrocities authorized by the exiled former President Yahya Jammeh. Today's session begins the 28th session of the Commission's public hearings. So far, 321 witnesses of both victims and perpetrators appear before the Truth-Seeking Commission to give accounts of their ordeals.
As we continue our institutional hearings today, the focus remains the National Intelligence Agency, NIA. In this context, the Commission, since 22nd October 2020, heard testimonies from 51 witnesses comprising 45 victims and 6 perpetrators. The perpetrators confessed to having meted out to their fellow citizens, sometimes with the involvement of the junglers, various forms of torture and abuse. These citizens, some of whom committed no crime whatsoever, were arbitrarily arrested by NIA agents and illegally detained without trial. The tortures were carried out ostensibly to extract confessions, by coercion of course, from the detainees.
Following the testimonies of adversely mentioned persons who served the NIA during Jammeh's 22 years of dictatorial rule, while others continue to serve the country's intelligence service, many claim that the illegal arrest and torture of detainees were done based on orders from senior officers of the NIA. However, the TRRC chairman said there is no room for excuse in meting pain on individuals.
It was clear from the testimonies the Commission heard that the perpetrators weren't the innocent and the ignorant enablers of the dictatorship, as some portrayed themselves to be. They were wicked torturers who willingly brutalized innocent Gambians for money or favor. Some perpetrators gave flimsy excuses that if they did not carry out the superior orders to torture a detainee, they would themselves be tortured. They claimed that they had no choice. But of course, they have a duty not to implement unlawful orders, and no amount of explanation can excuse the cruel and inhumane treatment they inflicted on their victims.
The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparation Commission began its public hearings in January 2019 to unearth series of human rights violations that surfaced from 1994 to 2016 from the regime of the former President Yahya Jammeh. The Commission will also consider reparations for the victims of abuses, promote reconciliation, and recommend measures to avert the occurrences of same human abuses. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
And from that, environmental sanitation is a major concern in the Gambia. Working in certain parts across the country can be disturbing with death all around. In that regard, Help Gambia, a non-governmental organization, organizes a rigorous cleansing exercise at Westfield and the surrounding. The voluntary organization aims to sensitize the public on climate change factors and the importance of preserving the environment. Our reporter Fatmata Kasim attended the exercise and she files in this report.
The municipal council installed trash bins along roadsides to help keep the city clean, but people avoid making use of the trash bins and litter indiscriminately. The cleaning exercise gathers different youth organizations in the Gambia. Dauda Cham, the national project coordinator for the Help Gambia, explained the reason for the cleaning exercise.
As an organization, we thought it wise to have an exercise of this nature But because looking at the environment where we are currently, as you can see, people are picking trash everywhere. It's a business hub and very densely populated. So we thought it wise to have an exercise like this to keep the city clean, but also to advocate, to tell people that it is important that we clean our city, and whenever we use food or drink, we eat food or drink water, I mean, we should try to actually keep the trash somewhere safe where it can be collected by the municipality. They already have a waste collection team which does that. So that is why we actually did this initiative, and we hope that at the end of the day, the places that we're going to clean will not be dirty again. As we are cleaning, we are trying to advocate, talk to people who are actually situated in those areas to be conscious of some of the things that they do.
Sanada Harbour, director of the National Disaster Management Agency, said proper management is enhanced when there is environmental protection. He calls for emulation of this exercise in other regions across the country.
NDMA as an institution recognized that environmental protection enhance proper waste management and also address climate change challenges that the Gambia is also facing, and Gambia is no exception. It is within that context that NDMA partner with GAM diaspora and other institutions to come and participate in this cleaning exercise. We are encouraging all the regions to emulate the same thing. If you look at it during rainy season, waste management causes serious environmental challenges in terms of posing disaster in our community.
Bakari Baji, Minister for Youth and Sport, applauded the initiative, adding that it is hygienic to the people.
Now, in the health perspective, it's also keeping the people around here healthy. Because when you have a lot of the environment being clean, it means we're preventing viruses and some bacteria that can be around, and it keep the environment clean, but also keep the people healthy. Environmental-wise, we all know about the global warming that happens. This is one of the contributions or activities that can keep minimize the effects that we have on the depletion of the ozones and all that. So for me, it's great that it has all these multiplier effects, health-wise and cleanup, but also on the environment.
The Gambia has a subtropical climate with sunshine throughout the year and an average temperature between 29 degrees Celsius and 34 degrees Celsius. Help Gambia is an NGO in the Gambia with worldwide volunteers. It builds resilient communities by reducing household risks, environmental pollution, and climate change hazard that could lead to catastrophic disaster across the country. For iAfrica TV, I am Fatoumata Kasim.
Well, viewers, that was all from me and my crew on Gambia 24. You can stay tuned for more of our interesting programs. Until then, good evening.